Hey guys, John V from Phone Arena here. Right now you're watching our video review of the LG Lucid 3 for Verizon. It's not like hardcore Android enthusiasts are going to go out running to pick up the handset. Instead, it's going to be targeted to those basic users who want something that's simple and easy to use, and you do get that with the LG Lucid 3. Of course, the design isn't as memorable as some of the recent flagship devices from LG's camp. That's partly attributed to the inferior choice of materials they decided to go with this time. It's a plastic body that scratches easily and is prone to smudging. Well, at least it's pretty comfortable to hold in the hands, not as immense as some of today's flagship smartphones, so it's more form-fitting and easier in the pockets. With its form-fitting nature, LG has somehow managed to include a 4.7-inch QHD display which has a resolution of 960 by 540 pixels. We know what you're thinking, it's nothing worth gloating about, but it's still effective enough to make out most details, though when you're in a zoomed out view, it can look rather garbled. However, this IPS LCD display lacks the richness to attract our eyes. Instead, we have a pretty bland panel, color seem washed out, it has some poor viewing angles, and outdoor conditions, its brightness output's not the most potent, so it's rather difficult to view. Around its trim, we have a micro USB port, the microphone. On the left side, you have a volume control. Up top, the 3.5mm headset jack and noise cancellation microphone. And finally, on the right, we just have a power button. And finally, in the rear, we have a 5-megapixel autofocus camera with an LED flash. It could shoot 1080p videos. And around the front, we have a VGA camera. Seeing that the Lucid 3 is targeting basic users, it's running a stripped-down version of the UI that we first saw with the LG G2 and consequently other devices like the G Flex. It's running on top of Android 4.4.2 KitKat. We're not going to go into detail about every feature with the experience, but we're just going to show you some of the main ones here. For example, it has the same knock-on feature that we saw before. So basically tap anywhere that has dead space and you can actually turn on or turn off the display. There's a one-handed operation feature which is reserved for things like the dial pad and the keyboard. And the nice thing about it is that we're able to encompass the entire layout with one hand. Another very useful feature is guest mode. So if you're going to be handing your phone to friends or people you don't want, prying through your stuff, you could allow them to use guest mode. So it gives them access to a few certain applications. Powered by a quad-core 1.2 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 processor with 1 GB RAM. It handles basic tasks with no fluff at all, but for more processor-intensive stuff, it does exhibit some choppiness and even some deficiencies with its performance. Luckily though, there aren't too many compromises with the web browsing experience just because you have 4G LTE connectivity for fast page loads, and for the most part, it has a responsive performance. It's packing along the same music player found on other recent LG smartphones, so it has a pleasant look. The audio quality is more than audible, but it sounds rather flat. High-definition videos play flawlessly with the handset, but of course the display isn't the most appealing and you kind of see how it washes out very quickly. The one extra feature added in is the Q-Slide functionality, so you have better multitasking. It basically overlays the video on top of whatever we're doing. Checking out the LG camera app, it's filled with a few different shooting modes and even some manual controls to appease most people, but it's not quite as comprehensive compared to LG's flagships. They're not great nor are they terrible, but the photos produced by the LG Lucid 3's 5-megapixel camera are decent enough. It's best used outdoors where there's plenty of sun to get a good balance, but at times it seems to overexpose the images. Likewise, we could say the same thing about its 1080p video recording quality. It's pleasant, but there are some distracting parts about it. For example, details are kind of light, it's kind of shaky, and lastly, it lacks continuous autofocus, so it doesn't do close-ups that great. There's no concern when it comes to battery life. It has some serious endurance. It's packing along a 2440 milliamp hour battery, and in our battery benchmark test, it's able to achieve well over 8 hours from a full charge. When it comes to real-world usage, we're able to get close to 2 days of normal usage, which is pretty fantastic for a device like this. Add in its free on-contract costs, and you're not going to spend any money picking up the handset with a 2-year contract, so there's a good amount of value in it. So if you guys want to learn more about the LG Lucid 3 for Verizon Wireless, you can check out our website, phonearena.com. It's John V. Thanks for watching.